Okay, my friends, this should be quite illustrative about how to get educated. Right now, there's a big issue about education, how much it costs, what are you being taught in the first place. I have gone through virtually everything there is to go through, and I went mostly through Coursera, which I'm not getting paid anything by them. I do want to applaud them for being able to join for free at Yale. The story of our times, specialization, there's 2,458 people already enrolled. I'm going to enroll right now. I enroll for free. You have no obligation. However, they don't give you a piece of paper. I don't care. For me, I couldn't care less. You, it's going to be a different story if you're young. Now, what should you do? You should do what I did. This is my final works on a lot of things. You know, physics and, you know, dipole flood theory. And I mean, I got a million things. And this goes back to 2017 when I started making my first real journal about Mudfossil University. And now we got our own books are coming out, the Mudfossils, electron flood theory, history, all that. And this goes back to my original work about the dipole electron flood theory, which said there is nothing but dipoles. Everything is a electrostatic forces, dipoles, all dipoles. And that's what makes up everything. So we have to start all over again. Now, does that mean that you don't have to understand what everybody else has said in the past? No, absolutely. It means just the opposite. If you don't investigate and research what they said, you have no right to speak. You have to be able to address what has been pronounced as settled science. It is not settled. There is nothing on this planet Earth right now that is settled. History's wrong, geology's wrong, physics is wrong, chemistry is wrong, medical biology and the invasion of the tissues, so they don't understand any of that. They don't understand the bacterial enzyme connection to membrane health. They don't understand the fluid-filled highways that surround all your organs to protect them, and they have to have these bacteria. That's not understood. They don't understand that space is not a vacuum. The speed of light is not consistent. I show all of these things are 100%. Now, I went to many top universities. University of Geneva, Johns Hopkins, Rice, on and on and on. I go on forever. Now I'm going to just sign up for Yale. Because I sign up for them. I just go there and I listen to what they say and I chime in and then they get upset. And then I just go on my way. But at least I know what they're saying and I know how to respond to them. That's why I can cover all these fields. Nobody will talk to me because I have so much evidence, and not only this one, how it relates to this one, it overlays to this one, on top of that one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Because there is nothing that just sits there by itself. Not a single thing. Zero. This goes that way, this goes this way, this goes up, they're all tied together, my friends. It is one giant ball of wax. And if you don't understand wax, you better get out of the ball. Okay, so as you see, I'm going to be taking the Yale course on our history, and I hope to engage. Now, why do I feel that I have something to offer? Because there were giants in the earth in those days, and this is a hair follicle, and so is this. Now, this is my stunner. Everybody seems to really appreciate this one. This is the erector pili muscle attachment right there. That makes your hair stand up on end. This is the sebaceous gland. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, what is this? That's the hair. These two little dots here, if you can see those, are the artery and the vein, the blue and the red down there. Then the hair grows down and comes back straight up through the hair shaft and out. Now this is a curly-haired person because of that flat spot. That's what people tell me, and I believe it. Now, hairs grow down and then they turn around and come back up. You see it? That's why sometimes you get an ingrown hair. It breaks through that bottom, which is kind of thin. So this is the size. Now I figured out this is at least 500 times bigger than us. Now I don't know what kind of creature it was from, but it would be 500 times bigger than what we would consider to be a hair follicle. I don't know. I haven't seen any hair follicles like this. So we have to start from the scratch again, which is about Mudfossil the geology, electron flood theory, dipoles, and this is one of my main focuses is Velikovsky, this is a paper I wrote about Velikovsky when I first was being really slammed by academia. And Paul Amatucci, who is a friend of mine, is writing all these books. Now, all he's doing is basically copying my papers. This was a paper from 2019, and they go back quite a ways back. But he's taken them and just said, let me put them in a book, and I'll throw some illustrations in here and there just to pump people up. I have nothing to do with the books. I have no profit from this. I have nothing to do with them other than he's using my papers. And that's what I said. Yeah, I said, fine, that's perfect. So, and I mean, he's doing them very, very inexpensively. I know he's not making any money on it to speak of, so it's not like he's trying to make a ton of money. But here's what you should do. When you go to these universities, like I'm talking about on Coursera, make a manual, but do a good job. Don't do it like I'm doing it. This is just a mess. And the reason is because I don't care. I'm not going to go present this to a prospective employer. But what you can do is say, I went to Yale University, I went to Harvard, I went to this one, I went to that one. And you go, I mean, there's a ton of them that you can go to, and they're free. Hold on one second. Let me just show you something. All right, don't forget, this is the one I'm going to take right now. But I've taken a bunch of them at a time. You don't have to. You have no obligation. This is the beauty of it. Join for free. Now look at this. I get these almost every other couple of days. Recommendations for you. These are things that they found that seem to suit my interests. This is the one I'm going to take from Yale. Journey of the Universe, a story of our times. Let's see what their story is. I have my story. Quantum physics. Dinosaur paleobiology. Dinosaurs were literally ticks. Knowing the universe. Philosophy, astronomy. Well, let's talk about that. Astrobiology. Yeah. What's out there living in space? Why does space smell like steak? Science of our solar system. Understanding modern physics, relativity, cosmos. This is like ice cream to me. This is like a bowl of candy. Confronting the big questions. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely big. Evolving universe. Well, let's talk about it. Physics and forces and kinetic. This is all my stuff. And this is what they send to you. They say, would you want to join in? Yeah, just sign up. I've gone to places that you wouldn't even believe. This is University of Colorado. Here's Rice. I've been there. Caltech. I can't remember. Rochester, University of Rochester. Hong Kong University. Caltech, University of Arizona. Why do you have to pay these people? To say to you, I went there, they gave me a piece of paper, that means nothing. You paid them, you repeated what they told you to say, you got a piece of paper. Are you a genius? I don't think so. I think you're more of a genius if you do these kind of things by yourself and then go to the thing and say, I went to all these places. Here is my work. This is what I did. Now you got something you can present to and it costs you zero. Zero. I think that's better than having indebtedness and living in your car to try to pay your student loans. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people now. And they are in trouble, and they're going to be in worse trouble now that they found out that what they were taught wasn't even true. And now they're indebted. I think the universities are the ones that should be giving this money back. I know Biden wants to refund student loans, and I see no reason not to, but not at the expense of the taxpayers, at the expense of the people that really sort of extorted the money from them in the first place. Because if you don't get a piece of paper from them, you might as well just pick up your shovel and head to the fields. And that's exactly what they do. They say, if you don't repeat what we tell you once you're here, even after you paid us, you could get your shovel, head back to the field, because we'll tell everybody you're an idiot because you couldn't repeat what you told us. This has to stop, and I'm putting a stop to it now. We're trying to set up a worldwide nodular school where everybody can set up a little church room somewhere, a library room, have a half a dozen people, 10 people sit around and watch the videos and ask questions, and I will weave a story of what was being told to us and what the ancient histories show and what evidence supports which one of those, or both of them, or none of them. Because we're going to find all of those things. And the ancient texts are not any longer to be considered silly. because of the things I will show you and have shown you, if you don't understand it by now, that these things are rooted, deeply rooted in factual evidence. Well, if you can't draw that conclusion at this point, then you should head to the fields. Because you're never going to get it. But, it's so pushed back against by academia that it's hard for me to believe that they think they're educated or they think they're educating anyone. I got a feeling that it's mostly just self-interest. And boy, I paid all this money. I'm sure as hell not going to tell them that I didn't learn what was, you know what I mean? It's there's vested interest here that goes so deep, and it's so money-oriented, and it's so structural now that I never considered that truth could be so vile to these people. But all the ancient texts say that. They say they will deceive you in every which way they can and make merchandise of you. And that's basically what's happening right now. So, to get this done yourself. Don't rely on somebody to say you're smart. Be smart, and you don't have to get validated by these people. You have to stand up and say to them, no, what you told me isn't correct. And here's why. Don't just stand up and say, oh, you're idiots, everything's CGI. You're showing me stuff that isn't real. No, the stuff they're showing you is real. They just don't understand it. All right, so you have to start to understand things. And that's what this is all about. That's what my whole life right now is about, is trying to make people understand the difference between what is forced on them, what is real, and the middle ground. Because there's some things I can't explain, absolutely can't explain, no way in the world. And nobody can. So it's not that I'm sitting out here not able to explain it, everybody else can. No, nobody can. I have explained things that nobody else has ever been able to explain in history. And that's just a fact. You can take it for anything else. It ain't bragging if it's true, it's just true. Nobody's been able to stand up and say, look at these gigantic dragons and all these things in space, or and been able to literally prove it. Because now it can be proved. And it is proven. And it's still so rejected, just exactly like what happened to Velikovsky. Velikovsky was my hero. I wrote a book about him. It's 99 cents. The only reason I wrote that book was to make him not be forgotten in history, and which he is right now. Nobody knows his name anymore. And the ones that do say, yeah, that guy was a nutcase. Oh, man, he thought we were almost hit by Venus, and he thought there was a giant hot water flood and all these kind of crazy stuff and monsters. Well, start paying attention and then make your claims that he was a fool. All right, don't just assume right off the bat he's making these statements, because Venus was born from Jupiter was his claim. As soon as the academics heard that, done, case closed, the guy's insane, forget him, don't even read. None of them ever read what he said. And they asked him, they said, did you read it? Say, who the hell would read something like that? Why would I waste my time? Are you kidding me? And that's the way they would attack the reporter. And say, what are you, stupid? You think I'm going to waste my time reading some idiot like that? Well, that's their fault. And Velikovsky was the one. He was a very, very good friend of Einstein's, and he was very, very scholarly in his own right. And he founded universities and so forth. University of Jerusalem, something like that. And so this guy was not an idiot. And Einstein died with his book on his bed when he died, because he realized, and also Einstein's estate recognized Velikovsky after, posthumously. They said, yeah, he said he was right. And so I'm going with that. Get yourself educated, and let's see if we can get some money refunded from the universities back to the students for not paying attention to what they should have. I've been reporting on this stuff for many years now, and it's just been avoided at the self-interest of the universities, is my point. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think if Biden's looking for a little wedge here it is. You should be able to use this as a crowbar to wrench some money out of these people. They didn't do their job. There's something called fiduciary responsibility, which means to act in the best interest of somebody that you control, which is there's no more control than an academic to a student. And they are there to learn something so that they can enhance and increase their financial wealth. And so that's what they went there for. Just like you go to an investment banker and he says, I'm a fiduciary, I'm working in your favor, don't worry, put me in charge of everything, do everything I say, and you'll be okay. And that's what the academics say. And if you don't say what they tell you to say, they say, no, you're not worthy. I'm going to keep your money, but you're just an idiot, so I'm going to fail you, and they'll turn to tell the rest of the world that you're a failure. So what is your options there? You have to act like a drone. You say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And if you don't, you're done. And I've seen very, very, very vindictive professors. Happened to me. But I actually won. So that's another story I've told before, but it's fun. Every now and then you win. But it's still, you win the little ones, but it didn't. The big game, you're never going to win against these guys. Now, maybe somebody like Biden can stand up against them. But I'm going to tell you right now, the academic system is more powerful than any other system on earth. There is nothing else on earth that can stand up to them. Because every time you do, they say, oh, you got to follow the science, you got to follow our peer-reviewed stuff. Well, all that is racketeering. It's come down to that. We tell you what to say, and if you don't say it, I don't care if it's right or wrong. We don't care. Nobody cares anymore. You say what we say, or we will destroy your life. We have now become the dictators of the society, and you pay us to become the dictators. It's the most crazy system I've ever seen. Once you break it down to its components, you pay to become a slave. Literally. Maybe you can become a slave master, but you are still working for the big slave master. And that's just a fact. I don't care how you cut it down now anymore. All right, so if you don't stand up and say, I'm going to do this for myself, let me make my own stuff and follow my stuff. And I need a couple people to set up networks all around the world, everywhere, and have just little groups of people coming in. I'll answer the questions, we'll discuss things. But don't accept to just say, oh, Roger's here, he's going to tell you what it is. No, I'm going to say, does anybody have any questions? If you have a question, let's answer it. Why don't you understand this? Did I make it not clear? Is it something I said was wrong? The other day I found out I was wrong about copper for my whole life. I always thought copper had a ton of extra electrons. That's why they flowed so easily. It's just the opposite. There's not enough electrons. That's why they flush through there looking for a place to go. And that just dawned on me just a few days ago. And I'm a physicist. I'm an atomic, subatomic, nuclear physicist. And I didn't even understand that. And right now, they don't understand even what light is. They have no idea what the proton is made of. There's no idea what dark matter, dark energy, black holes, neutrinos, they have no idea about that whatsoever. None. Fission, fusion, can't even explain gravity. So that's why it's the perfect time to be into the science. Absolutely perfect. Because now you can straighten it all out, and it's up to you to do that as the students of the future. So I want young students, and get yourself a little group of buddies or friends and your girlfriends, all kinds of people. I don't care what you are anymore. You just get a bunch of people together and sit there and say, wow, look at that. And then you all argue and fight. The guy's crazy. No, he isn't. He's nuts. Look at him. He's an idiot. Whatever. That's fine. That's how debate starts. There's very few debates that start with, hi, Mr. Spur, aren't you nice? No, it's, hello, Roger, you idiot. And I'll say, thanks, you idiot. We'll go from there. But, you got to chuckle a little bit. You just got to have a good time doing it. Because once you start with a really violent confrontation, it just goes nowhere. But I cannot get even anybody to debate me, so I had to really push a stick into the bear's nose, and the bear just ran away. I've never had a bear come after me yet. Because they can't. My stick is much more powerful than any bear in the woods. All right, so get yourself a stick and go after some bears your own self.